Good evening. The May 24th, 2022 board meeting is now in order. I am happy to welcome my fellow board members and the public. I would like to take this opportunity to remind the public that the appropriate place for public participation in the meeting is during your individual public comment opportunity as identified in the agenda. Outside of your individual public comment opportunity, your role in the meeting is as an observer. Russ, roll call, please.
Forgot I was doing this. Hello, everybody. Ms. Belford.
Present.
Ms. McDougall.
Present.
Ms. Campbell.
Present.
Jenkins.
Present.
Mr. Susan.
Present.
Thank you, sir. The board will now hold a moment of silent reflection and invite you all to join. Obviously, your moment of silent reflection is up to you. However, if you've not yet heard, there was a tragedy in Texas. 14 children and 1 teacher have been killed by an active shooter. So we will be reflecting on that. Thank you. If you would please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, at this time, I would like to offer my fellow board members and Dr. Mullins an opportunity to recognize student, staff, or members of our community who would like to start us off this evening.
I'll go first.
Ms. Jenkins?
I'm going to be super quick. I think Katie's going to go ahead and do the Congressional Medal ceremony that we just attended. I just want to say an additional congratulations to all of our seniors that graduated over this past weekend. Went to a couple of ceremonies. They were all fantastic. Our students, their speeches, so uplifting, so hopeful, looking forward towards a future. And yeah, congratulations. Enjoy that moment. And I'm really grateful that most of them didn't get rained on.
Thank you, Ms. Jenkins.
I'm ready.
All right, Ms. Campbell?
All right. I will echo those words about graduation and just congratulations to our staff also for pulling that off under some stressful weather conditions. I did get rained on, so that's all right. It was great. So on a few weeks ago, we celebrated the name unveiling of our new manufacturing building at the Clear Lake Adult Ed program. And we recognized Mr. Johnny Fred Bailey Sr., who was there at the ceremony. And it was just awesome to see the community that he has impacted through the generations. And we just are hopeful that what happens in that building will continue to impact not only the community of Cocoa, but the whole county and the students and adults who walk through there to get training. It was a wonderful recognition ceremony. Kudos to the staff for putting on a great program. On Saturday, the Mel High Marching Band marched for a resident of Indialantic who is 103 years old. He is a World War II veteran. It's the second year in a row they've recognized him. His name is Mr. Bob Clark, and it was wonderful for our students to get to see the history and just to recognize a true hero in our community. He was a member of the Air Force before it was the Air Force, so it was a great thing for them to get to be a part of. Also just wanted to make sure everybody continues to be aware. If you haven't heard yet, we've got some amazing secondary enrichment programs going on for all our rising middle and high school students. It's on the website, on about every school's website, Facebook pages, wherever. You've probably seen some emails, but take a look. If you want to give your students some great opportunities in music and academics and sports, there's all kinds of great programming going on for secondary students this summer. And there's 1-week sessions, 2-week sessions, and even 3-week sessions. Finally, between our workshop and this meeting, Ms. Jenkins and I were able to go across the street where Congressman Posey was recognizing our 2022 Congressional Medal of Merit Award winners. Every school within District 8, Congressional District 8, could recognize, could nominate a student. These students were exemplary in so many ways, especially with their volunteerism, their leadership, service to their school and to their community. And so I just wanted to recognize the students from here in Brevard County. We had Zoe Kitt from Astronaut High School, Maya Henry from Bayside, Jake DeLuca from Cocoa, Liam Pattison from Cocoa Beach, Haley Neal from Eau Gallie High School, who I had when I would sub sometimes at Central. I remembered her. Phoenix Boggs from Edgewood, Christina Donahue from Heritage, Patrick Faherty from Mel High, Leah Bishop from Merritt Island, Gabriel Kuntz from Odyssey Charter, Courtney Antilosi from Palm Bay, Alyssa Wheeler from Pineapple Cove, Kalea Shannon from Rockledge, Neil Reddy from Satellite High, Tatravia Eason from Space Coast Junior Senior High, Peyton Cook from Titusville, Jaden Gentile from Vieira, and Lily Winston from West Shore Junior Senior. So congratulations to all those Congressional Medal of Merit Award winners.
Thank you, Ms. Campbell, and thank you, Ms. Campbell and Ms. Jenkins, for attending on behalf of the rest of the board, especially since I couldn't be there, and I really try hard to be there, but we were otherwise committed this afternoon, as you know, so thank you. Mr. Susan?
Yeah, so it's great. Thank you so much, Madam Chair. First off, I wanted to congratulate Dr. Barbara Berry from Eau Gallie High School. Many of you have known that she's an icon over at Eau Gallie High School. And this past weekend, or this past week previous to this one, I was able to go to Eau Gallie, and we were able to look at the program that she's put together. So Dr. Mullins and I, we've been going on these career and technical tours to give internships, and we've got a great, robust program moving. But Dr. Berry's been doing it for like 20 years. And she's been giving internships to every one of her kids in all of the entire area of Eau Gallie, which is phenomenal. What we are trying to model, she's already doing and has been doing. Health First came to the meeting and offered up over 100 internships to kids at Eau Gallie High School through 5 different medians, which was massive. That program with those kids is going to be phenomenal for them to join to. But I did just want to take a minute to say thank you to her and her organization. Many of you don't know Dr. Berry. If you don't, she runs the Health and Wellness Academy at Eau Gallie High School and is incredibly involved in many of the community businesses that are there, and their stories and their project boards and everything else were really cool. I was honored to be able to be at the Vieira, Rockledge, and Eau Gallie graduations this week. Eau Gallie was last night. Dr. Mullins was hanging with me for Vieira and Eau Gallie. At Eau Gallie, we almost got kicked out between the two of us. He was enticing some of the children to act inappropriately, like dancing and stuff like that. And I'm serious. I'm not lying to you. At one point,
I really do qualify for hazard pay.
at one point, he was trying to pay off the kids behind me to push me off the stage. So, and that is true. So I want to let you know, I actually, Dr. Mullins, really appreciated the time we had on the stage. It was actually,
Mr. Susan, I was always behind you. That's protocol for graduation ceremonies.
Come on, man. I just wanted to say I'm honored to be there with you because you brought light to that. And at the moment when those kids when they're walking across the graduation stage, they're so nervous because they think that we're really popular, but we're not. They're like, oh, thank you, congratulations, right? And we're like, we're really not that cool. And to bring levity to that and tell them that we're so proud of them. I can't tell you how many times behind me Dr. Mullins was saying, we're really proud of you. Congratulations. And to have a superintendent doing that was really cool. Besides the fact we're not going to be invited back to Eau Gallie because I think it started the EG what behind us because of the drum roll that we got them going on. It was pretty incredible. So I want to apologize to Jeremy Solomon, principal, right now for our behavior last night. It was exacerbated by Dr. Mullins. So anyways, I just want to say that. But anytime. So the other thing I wanted to say is I met last night with many groups. I had spoken before about moving forward on doing some things with veteran speaking projects and all of those things. So I met with the groups last night. I'm trying to create a bipartisan style program where we support the civics inside of our schools and that they have representatives for each school to work with the teachers on bringing the veteran speaking projects, the essays that many of these organizations have that they try to bring. Many of the principals that are in the audience understand they come at the last minute in March and they say, hey, can you get 100 kids to write this 10-page essay for us? And the heart goes out to them because you're like, hey, that was part of our curriculum back in November, and now we're like literally testing season, and they just don't get that. So the idea is that we're going to try to align many of the programs so that they understand when to draw those essays, when to meet with staff, and to give awards to our kids at the end, like during the award ceremonies at the end. They really want to do something. They just don't know how to meander that. So I had the meeting last night, actually, before the O'Galley High School, and they were really excited. Many of you guys know Don Weaver, great guy. He's been running now the Veteran Speaking Project now for over 6 years. Him and I started that thing years ago. I got on school board. He just kept trucking along. It's literally the largest veteran speaking project in the United States. Go figure. He's been killing it. So he just said, look, I need some help. I need more veterans. I could use some support here to be a help to our kids. So I was really honored for that, and that's all I've got. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Susan. Good stuff. Ms. McDougall?
So I have a couple things. First, I want to give a shout out and a thank you. I was able to go to the Cocoa High School ribbon cutting for their new track. So I want to thank our facilities department, our city of Cocoa, and also the school themselves, because they all banded together to raise the money, to put it together, and the track is absolutely amazing. It's a great track. So thank you for the teamwork that everybody worked together to make this track happen. So that was on Monday, and then later that night, I came here to see the graduates of the intern graduates from the CTE program. And I think, Dr. Sullivan, we had 15, is that about right, 15? Oh, 21, I'm way off. 21 students graduate with certificates from our intern program, and some of them, Ms. Hand's department, I think, wins the cake for hiring. There's a lot of our students are going to go right into jobs with HVAC, which is great. So that was kind of fun. And then on Tuesday, I was able to go to a school that I normally don't go to Sherwood. And it is the most, kind of a bad word, but it's a cute school because I walk in and I feel like I'm in Sherwood Forest. Oh my goodness. And I want to thank Principal Morenas for welcoming me, giving me a tour, but I was there to give 2 impact elevated pins. One to a bus driver, Miss Sandy, and one to an IA, Mr. Carlos. And that's how they're known. And what they both have done is work very hard, develop plans, work together to work with a student that has a difficult time connecting with other adults and can be a behavioral problem. But throughout this year, they have worked together as a team and to help this child be successful, and they went above and beyond. They didn't have to put together a plan, they didn't have to do what they did, and they did. So I want to give a shout out to both of them. I then kind of popped over to Roosevelt because I know the principal there is leaving. They're moving to another state, and I wanted to thank her for all that she's done. And then it was a busy week. It was just really a busy week. I was back at Cocoa, and I was asked to speak at the induction ceremony for the new SGA. And I think it was a great ceremony. It was short and sweet. The kids were excited, and I didn't realize that they elect for like the next 3 years. I did not realize that. So I guess I was able to meet all the electors at that meeting. And then, of course, graduation, we were so lucky that it didn't rain. Cocoa, we were just kind of moving along really quick near the end because the clouds kept getting darker and the thunder kept rolling. So we missed the rain, thank goodness. And then I was lucky enough to go to Edgewoods and then to Merritt Island. And the students in Cocoa do dance across the stage. They do, and we had a couple not at Edgewood, but at Merritt Island. It was really great. It was great. I believe that this graduating class is going to do great things, and I think our future looks good with the kids and the students that have graduated. So I'm very excited for all of them. So that was my week.
Did you tell one of those kids you used to have a mullet? Is that what you have? Because he did. He did. She's not moving. Ha!
There's pictures of it someplace, Mr. Susan.
It is. He did.
Just go back to Cocoa Beach High School yearbook. It is true.
Ms. Jenkins, you had something you wanted to
Yes,
circle
I'm
back
sorry, I forgot something, but Ms. McDougall just reminded me. So over the past week or so, I've gotten a lot of emails from some of our amazing young female students who are attending Girls State in the next week or two. And so, you know, we've got some males going there to Boys State as well. But I know that our females are going up to Washington, D.C., which is really an amazing opportunity for them. It's a great program that they have to be nominated for and accepted to go ahead and participate in. And it was really fun talking to some really young, inspiring females who are looking into being a part of public service and really digging to that. So congratulations to all of those girls that I had a conversation with. I don't know everybody else who made it, but congratulations to you as well.
Thank you, Ms. Jenkins. Dr. Mullins?
Thank you, Ms. Belford. I want to begin by adding on to the shout-outs to our intern opportunities. Last night, we in the boardroom here, we had internship signing for 6 seniors. Upon graduation, will go to L3 Harris for a full-time paid internship for the next year. Last year, L3 Harris came to us and wanted that we nurtured that partnership. They came into the interview process saying we want 8 interns. They walked away from the interview saying there were too many good ones. We'll take 10. I'm so proud to share that of those 10 from last year, 7 are remaining employed with L3 Harris. The other 3 are pursuing some post-secondary opportunities now. But we have 6 more seniors that are going to L3 Harris from Bayside High School's manufacturing engineering programs. So very proud of our CTE programs across this district that continue to set the pace across the state, but also phenomenal business partnerships that just continue to grow. L3 Harris, as the board knows, has been an amazing partner with Brevard Schools for a long time, but are always looking to take their partnership to the next level. And we're thrilled to provide them their workforce shortage solution. So if you are out there listening how could a student intern benefit your business, please come and talk to us. We have amazing young men and women who are equipped, prepared to work in several different kinds of industries across our district. I'd also like to do a shout out to our procurement and distribution services office. Kind of one of those small offices behind the scenes that has a tremendous lift for the district. But I'm so proud of the excellence that is demonstrated in leadership as well as in service. Once again, they are being recognized with the Florida Association of Public Procurement Officials Award of Excellence in Public Procurement for 2022. They've been a recipient of that for a few years now. But this year, they also received one of only 3 Best Practice Awards for 2022. The Best Practice Award was established to recognize outstanding best practices in procurement. It recognizes agencies who have implemented an innovative, cost-saving best practice or a best practice that benefits the community or the public procurement profession. Ms. Christy Rodriguez, our Director of Procurement, just has been a pace setter in our procurement practices. The board knows that last year they saved the district over $2 million in contract renegotiations, and just so very proud of our strong team in procurement and distribution services. So shout out to Christy and her team. I'd like to add my congratulations to our seniors, but also just a huge thank you to our principal. The board has the privilege, and I do, and other district staff, to spend a little bit of time with principals before the graduation ceremony begins, and I think you would agree that the personal attention, ownership, and responsibility that our principals take to put on a ceremony of distinction for our graduates is no small responsibility. We see all the logistics that go on, but our principals do it with such grace and such poise and such professionalism. It is such a pride moment for us as leaders of our schools, but and that's only simply because our principals take such a great interest in the graduation ceremony. But it goes beyond that. I heard of stories from principals, and it's not just the high school staff that come to a graduation. It's middle school principals, it's elementary principals come to graduation ceremonies. We had walkouts in our elementary schools where seniors went back to their elementary school and walked through the halls and set the example for our current elementary students as to what they're so proud about in graduation, and the impact that the elementary schools had the same experience with our middle schools. It is truly a school community experience, and just enormously proud of the investment that our leaders and our teachers make in our students. And the student speeches that I heard across 3 different graduations, oh my goodness, our future is in tremendous, capable hands. These young men and women are just phenomenal. Their insightful reflection on what they've experienced as young people over the last 4 years of their high school career, and how they translate that into a challenge to their peers on stage in front of thousands of people to then challenge them to go into their future. My favorite moment in graduation outside of the student speeches is that moment at the end when you see hundreds of mortar boards fly in the air. And for me, it's kind of a symbolic representation of now you go fly, you go soar. You may not know the direction it's going to take you, and you certainly may not know where you're going to land, but the opportunity to soar and go out and reach your potential has never been greater, and we've set you up for success. So appreciate the moment to reflect on our graduation. And have one more request. Mr. Brune will cue up a video, but I would suggest we do that after you've had a chance to share your shout outs, Mrs. Belford. But I think it's a nice little few-minute culmination of school year 22.
Thank you, and I will actually be brief because most of what I was going to discuss has already been discussed in one way or another. Like the rest of you, had the opportunity to attend multiple graduations, and one of the things that I love is the uniqueness of each and every one of them. That every single one of the graduations, there's something that you can take away that's just special about that school. So yes, thank you so much to our principals and our staff that make all of that happen. And I know especially when we're facing challenging and questionable weather, it makes it a little more difficult. And sometimes there's some high emotions around graduation anyway. And so, the fact that they literally weathered the storms in a lot of situations, we appreciate. I also had the opportunity to attend the Emma Jewell 8th grade graduation. And if you have not had the opportunity to go to one of those, I encourage you to do so at some point in your tenure on the board. Sweet ceremony. They had 26 graduates, which was their largest graduating class, 8th graders going on to 9th grade at the various high schools. And wanted to thank Dr. Danielle McKinnon, who was one of their speakers that came and spoke to provide some inspiration for the students, along with a couple of other community leaders. And so great ceremony. One of the really sweet things that they do is at the end of their ceremony, they do a rose ceremony. Obviously, with only 26 students, you can do a lot of things that you can't do with 300, right? But each of the students takes a rose and gives it to their person, whether it's mom, dad, aunt, grandma, whoever. Super sweet. I was with Alberta Wilson, and I sat on stage together, and there was not a dry eye in the house by the time it was all over and done with. And Alberta said, "Thanks for crying with me today." And I was like, "Hey, I'm all about the tears this weekend." So yeah, very sweet. And thank you, Thomas Cole and your team, for allowing me to join you. It's not our traditional graduation, but still a great opportunity. So with that, as Mr. Brune is approaching, I'm going to say just one more thing. Thank you to all of the parents that completed your parent survey. We had a great workshop earlier today where Mr. Brune shared a lot of the parent survey feedback with us. And if you didn't get an opportunity to see it, I encourage you to go back and take a look at it. But thank you to all the parents that took the time to share that very valuable feedback, because it was lots of great data for us to work on going forward. So thank you. With that, Mr. Brune.
Just to add context, a few weeks ago, Dr. Green and her morale team put out a call for show your school spirit, and kind of just put it out there, and we to our schools, and they came together, and obviously you can see the fun they had, and coming together as school family, and demonstrating their school pride, and then we rewarded a very hard selection. I think we were only going to recognize a handful of schools, but we ended up doing 10 of the entries with ice cream for the whole faculty and staff. And so we've been delivering ice cream over the last couple of weeks across our award recipients. And I just want to use this opportunity as we close the final days of school year 22, that to serve as superintendent with an army of men and women who are the epitome of real life superheroes. We need not look to movie trailers, billboards, or comic books. We have real life men and women all across this community, serving in our schools, making life-changing, life-saving impact in the children of Brevard County. Thank you to our teachers, our staff, our administrators, our teams across so many vast departments for bringing us through, unquestionably, the most challenging year we faced in education in our lifetime. Very proud of you. Thank you, Ms. Belford.
All right, that is going to bring us to the adoption of the agenda. Dr. Mullins.
Mrs. Belford and members of the board, on this evening's agenda, we have administrative staff recommendations, 2 recognitions, 15 consent items, 2 public hearings, 5 action items, and 2 information items. Changes made to the agenda since release to the public include the addition of items B9, GIS Volunteer for Facility Services, and F20, Approved Memoranda of Agreement with Brevard Federation of Teachers. Revisions were made to items A7, Administrative Staff Recommendations, F16, Reappointment Nominations of Annual Contract Teachers for the 2022-23 school year, F17, Administrative and Professional Reappointment Nominations for the 2022-23 school year, F18, Reappointment Nominations of Support Personnel and School Safety and Security Specialists for the 2022-23 school year, and I-34, Administrative Procedures, Use of District Facilities, Board Policy 7510. Also, the Administrative Procedure 7510. Also, the Vieira High School Classroom Edition, Design Build Services item was deleted.
What are the wishes of the board?
Move to approve.
Moved by Ms. McDougall, seconded by Ms. Campbell. Is there any discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, same sign. Motion passes 5-0. Dr. Mullins, will you please let us know about the administrative staff recommendations this evening?
Ms. Belford and members of the board, there are 17 items for your consideration.
What are the wishes of the board?
Second.
Moved by Mr. Susan, seconded by Ms. McDougall. Is there any discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, same sign. Motion passes 5-0. Dr. Mullins.
So I'd like to take this opportunity to recognize and congratulate the following individuals who are, I believe, with us this evening. We are thrilled to welcome you into the administrative arm of BPS family for the reclassification from assistant principal at Fairglen Elementary School to principal at Apollo Elementary School, Miss Amy Delago. Congratulations, Miss Delago. Mr. Boone is bringing you a microphone.
Thank you, Dr. Mullins, Mrs. Klein, and the school board. Thank you for this opportunity to continue in my leadership role as the principal of Apollo Elementary. Thank you to the many Brevard leaders who helped and guided and supported me along the way in my leadership journey. Thank you to Catherine Murphy and Christy Miraz for showing me examples of what a true leader looks like. I thank you for your continuous support and your support that you will provide me for months to come. In advance, I thank you. I also want to thank the team, Fairglen team, who will always have a piece of my heart. And finally, my family. I wouldn't be here without them. And I look forward to serving the families and the staff of Apollo Elementary. Thank you.
And now I want to congratulate Miss Jennifer Rosado, reclassed from assistant principal at Cocoa High School to assistant principal at Jackson Middle School. Congratulations, Miss Rosado.
Thank you, Dr. Mullins and board members, for allowing me to obtain this position. I am eternally grateful. I just want to show my gratitude and, just happiness because it's been a long journey. I took a leap of faith coming from Osceola County. I uprooted my family and moved closer to be at Cocoa High School in the middle of COVID. So I just want to say thank you to my family, my husband, my daughters for indulging me in that, and Mr. Wilson for opening his doors to me at Cocoa and becoming a part of the Brevard family. I'm just eternally grateful. And now thank you to Ms. Susan for taking a chance on me and allowing me to take on this position by her side and becoming her right hand. Dr. Sullivan, Ms. Vega, the board members, Mr. Mullins, I am eternally grateful. Thank you so much.
You are very welcome. And now a huge congratulations to Miss Clarissa Kirk, who is reclassed from teacher at Brevard Virtual School to assistant principal of our Brevard Virtual School. Congratulations, Miss Kirk.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Mullins. Thank you, board members. Thank you, Dr. Sullivan. You guys are all professionals at this. I'm going to get real good. I think that's going to be my number one task. Start with is speaking as an administrator. I want to first thank you for this opportunity, having me here, my family. Mom, seriously?
Good for you, Mom.
I want to thank my friends and family watching from home. I want to thank Dr. Kwam, who proofread several of my papers before submitting them through the master's that I just accomplished 2 years ago, and signed up for my master's a week before spring break of 2020 and thought, this is a great idea, and we all know that was the hardest 2 years, especially for Brevard Virtual School, what we went through on top of a master's. So, whew. On top of that, I want to thank my fearless leader. I'm not going to look at her because I'll tear. Principal Heather Price. She has been a fantastic role model, mentor. She has encouraged me to take this leadership leap 2 years ago, and here I am standing in front of you. So I'm keeping my tears in. And my family, definitely not looking at them, but they have had to deal with a mom that was taking on a lot of tasks and wore a lot of hats for our program. And I don't even know the titles of those hats, but we made that happen. And my kids were there, my husband, and my oldest, who was a Navy SEAL, and he used to tell me, full send, Mom, make it happen. So that's what I did. And I want to thank the BVS team. We may not be under the same roof every day, virtual school, but we are 56 united BVS family, and you will never believe how tight we are. So I am excited to be their leader and administrator, and this past year has given me administrative endurance. So game on, here we go.
You want to say anything?
All right. See, they already know. So I want to just extend my congratulations again to our newly appointed administrators in your role, but also extend my thanks to the family members that are here, not only to support them this evening, but the journey you've been on with your loved one to get them to this place, and the journey you'll be on as we move forward, because being an administrator is not for the weak at heart. And I commend you and thank you for being there for our leaders to serve our community. So thank you to the families as well.
Thank you, Dr. Mullins, and congratulations to all of you. All right, you are up again, Dr. Mullins, with our recognitions for this evening.
All right. Our first item is to acknowledge the programs and teachers recognized by the Florida Music Education Association, the John Philip Sousa Foundation, and the American String Teachers Association. And to give us more information and introduce our Awardees, Dr. Stephanie Sullivan, Assistant Superintendent of Secondary Leading and Learning. Dr. Sullivan.
Thank you, Dr. Mullins, Ms. Belford, and members of the board, and both our visiting audience and those at home. I am pleased to present to you this year's award recipients who represent a history of excellence in Brevard Public Schools. The importance of music in the development of a child is well known. Music positively impacts academic performance, supports the development of social skills, and provides an outlet for creativity and expression. We do not take for granted the board's continued support of music for all students, and we celebrate our community for continuing to value this investment. In a quote attributed to Plato, it is said that music is a more potent instrument than any other for education because rhythm and harmony find their way into the inward places of the soul. As a lifelong educator and former band mom, I can tell you from firsthand knowledge that music fuels passion in ways that I don't believe we will ever fully understand. The impact is different for every child, but that word harmony comes back to me when I think about the power of collective sound and the indiscriminate way that it brings people together. Tonight, we recognize schools and individuals that in the midst of expanding options, continue to offer exemplary programs that draw in students to participate in the immersive experience of music. But before we get started, I do need to recognize two individuals that couldn't be here tonight for medical reasons. First, Ms. Minnie Orr, our content specialist for K-12 music, and Ms. Molly Vega, our Director of Secondary Leading and Learning for Acceleration and Enrichment. I know they'd want to be here today to recognize these leaders themselves, so I wanted to thank them for their contribution as well. Dr. Mullins and Ms. Belford, would you please come forward to present the award to our honorees who are with us today? The Florida Music Education Association, affectionately known as FMEA, promotes quality, comprehensive music education for all Florida students. Accordingly, they annually recognize schools that serve a significant percentage of students with music. Receiving the FMEA Middle School Music Education Enrollment Award for having 50% of the school population enrolled in a music class, Central Middle School. Would like to specifically recognize Principal Todd Shear, Band Director Daniel Lee, Guitar and Keyboard Teacher Yvette Lopret, Orchestra Director Robin Morris, Choral Director Robert Washington, and String Specialist Nancy Jackson. Congratulations again to Central Middle School. I can't help but throw in an additional comment when you consider that Central Middle School is our largest middle school, and imagine over 50%. That is over 500, 600 students participating in music. Pretty incredible. Also receiving the FMEA Middle School Music Education Enrollment Award for having 49% of their school population enrolled in a music class, Jackson Middle School. Joining us today, Principal Tina Susan, Band Director Megan Doyle, Chorus and Orchestra Teacher Alexandria Reitz, and our string specialist, Marcy Spur. Congratulations, Jackson. Now, I have to mention the threshold was 40%. So these schools not only achieved it, they leapt past the expectation for excellence. Very proud. Now, before I mention the high school award, I want to emphasize how prestigious this is because we know of the abundance of options we give our high school students. We actually take pride in the abundance of options we give them. So in the state of Florida, there were only 3 schools statewide that were recognized as high schools receiving the award. Receiving the FMEA High School Music Education Enrollment Award, Titusville High School. I'd like to recognize Principal Jennifer Gonzalez, chorus teacher Brian Rohrer, band teacher Ian Schwent, orchestra teacher Jennifer Zahn, string specialist Marcy Spur. Congratulations, Titusville High School. I'm going to put Mr. Schwent in an awkward spot. The John Philip Sousa Foundation established the Band World Legion of Honor Award to recognize the finest band directors in the nation. The criteria for this award is as follows. The recipient must have at least 15 years of teaching experience. The recipient must have consistently maintained a high-quality concert band program and must have contributed significantly to the profession through dedication to bands and band music. This year's honoree is Mr. Ian Schwent. He has served as band director of Titusville High School for over 20 years. Mr. Schwent believes that every student has the right and privilege to learn about and participate in music at all levels of education, regardless of social factors, economic barriers, or cognitive or physical limitations. Further, Mr. Schwent believes music education must be of the highest possible quality, and it must meet students at their level of proficiency and challenge them to achieve significant personal growth. Congratulations to Mr. Ian Schwent for receiving the John Philip Sousa Band World Legion of Honor Award. Congratulations, Mr. Schwent. Although it has been mentioned in board meetings, we could not discuss excellence in music without a formal recognition of Mr. Eric Bryan and the O'Galley High School Chamber Orchestra. They earned the Grand National Champion title at the American String Teachers Association National Conference, which was held in Atlanta, Georgia this past March. Ensembles invited to participate in the National Orchestra Festival are carefully selected from a rigorous application and audition process. Students not only competed to be recognized as the best high school orchestra in the United States, but also received valuable comments from leading adjudicators and participated in a personalized post-performance clinic with renowned clinicians. Mr. Bryan and the O'Galley Chamber Orchestra are the first orchestra in the state of Florida to be recognized as Grand National Champions. Mr. Bryan and the members of the orchestra could not be here tonight, but we wanted to share a short clip of their performance to close out the recognition. That's twice in this presentation I've gotten goosebumps now. And we will certainly extend the appreciation of the board and the district to Mr. Bryan and his students. And they are hoping to come in person to perform in the fall. And so thank you all very much for joining me in saluting excellence in music in Brevard Public Schools.
Thank you, Dr. Sullivan.
Thank you, Dr. Sullivan. And again, congratulations to our exemplary music programs across Brevard. We, again, are state pace setters in music excellence in the state of Florida. I could go on giving evidence to that beyond just tonight. Maybe we lead the state in the number of exemplary programs plus, but just so very proud of the work of our music educators. Our next recognition is to recognize a young man who we are extraordinarily proud of and quite frankly feel blessed across Brevard schools to have the privilege to get to know, teach, mentor, and so on. This young man, Julian Wan, an Edgewood Junior Senior High School senior, has dedicated over 6 years to our district. Ms. Sue Han, Assistant Superintendent of Facilities, will provide more information on his service. This almost needs a drum roll, but I'll let you take over, Ms. Han.
We had some music folks here. So good evening, Madam Chairman, members of the board, Dr. Mullins, Sue Han, the Assistant Superintendent of Facility Services. And this is such a rare opportunity for me because in facilities, we don't often get to recognize students. So super excited to be here and honor a student that, as Dr. Mullins said, has been with us for 6 years as a volunteer. And I wanted to invite Mr. Lindeman, our Director of Planning and Project Management, and Ms. Karen Black, who is our Manager of Planning and Intergovernmental Coordination. They have worked very closely with our student, Mr. Julian Wan, and want to say a few words and then invite him to receive his award.
Good evening. Thanks for having us. We're honored to recognize Julian Wan tonight. Kind of a short story I'll tell. Back in 2016, I was at a Geographic Information System professional meeting, and Eastern Florida College was in the audience with their representatives, and I made a plug like, hey, it would be great for us to take on a GIS intern. You know, if there's any college students out there, that would be terrific. And after the meeting, Mr. Li Sing Huang, aka Julian's father, came up to me and said, you know, my son's really interested in GIS and potentially he might want to volunteer. I said, oh, wow, that's great. Yeah, I'd love to meet him. He said, yeah, and he's going to be starting 7th grade in the fall. So we're like, okay, well, that's what we do. Our mission is to serve the students. So he came in and we found a tremendously motivated and tremendously intelligent student who just stepped right in. At the time, we were trying to get the word out to the public about all the great stuff we were doing with the sales surtax referendum. We wanted to make sure that we were showing the good work. And Julian built an online mapping program that actually showed all the schools on the map, a list of all the different items that were part of the construction project, whether those things were completed, whatever the status was, the year that they were planned for, and got that out to the public. He was recognized at the Independent Citizens Oversight Committee for this work, and then he went into 8th grade. So we were like, I mean, the work that he did for us over the last few years has been tremendous. Another great project he worked on was informing the community about the construction status of the new Vieira Elementary School. We had drone videos, we had meetings, we had all kinds of information, and of course maps of where the school was located, and he put that together in a ArcGIS online story map, which you can see linked on our website. Throughout the years, just tremendous amount of advanced professional technical mapping skills that he's provided to our department, and we've been thrilled to have him. We know that whatever he does in the future, it's going to be very successful, and we'd like to thank him and recognize him today with a plaque. Karen Black, our manager of facilities planning, and myself, and we invite Julian to come up. Would like to ask you for a photo, if that's okay.
That was out of the way. It was weird. Dr. Mullins through it.
So just quickly, thanks. Not that volunteering for 6 years is a prerequisite to being offered a paid internship. But Julian, I think we could find a place for you in a paid internship. So you keep us in mind. Are you heading off to college? Well, I wish you the best. What's your school choice?
Oh.
All right, all right. Losing one of our best to, well, it's all right. We'll get you back. We will get you back. But keep us in mind as you continue your education journey. We would love to have you come back and join Team BPS. You've already made an overwhelmingly positive impression. Thank you for your years of service. Mom, Dad, thank you so much for the investment you've made in this young man. I know you're tremendously proud of him, and so are we, and thank you for entrusting him to us, not only at Edgewood, but also at Facility Services.
Thank you. I also wanted to say a thank you to Mr. David Lindman and Ms. Karen Black for giving me the opportunity to be able to work with them. I can say with certainty that I have learned a lot from this experience, and also thank you to my parents for being good mentors and introducing me to this opportunity.
Very good.
Dave, can he do it remotely? There you go. Just continue. Look, University of Florida, man. Don't matter.
That's right.
Graduating.
She's going to get paid.
All right, we are now at the public comment portion of our meeting on agenda items specifically. We have 2 speakers on agenda items this evening, therefore each speaker will receive 3 minutes. Please note that the time is per speaker, not per agenda item. Topics not specific to agenda items will be moved to the non-agenda portion of the meeting. We have a clock in front of me to help you keep track of your time. When your time is over, you will be asked to stop and allow the next speaker his or her turn. Always keep in mind that reasonable decorum is expected, and your statement should be directed to the board chair. The chair may interrupt, warn, or terminate a participant's statement when time is up. It's personally directed, abusive, obscene, or irrelevant. Should an individual not observe proper etiquette, the chair may request the individual to leave the meeting. For the audience, please remember that outside of your personal public comment period, your role is as an observer. Therefore, I would ask that you please not disrupt the meeting by interjecting comments or noises during public comments. Our speakers for agenda items this evening are Katie Delaney and Anthony Colucci. If you all would please approach.
Good evening, Board. I'm here today to speak about the, I believe it's F13, about the finances. As I was looking through these, and I do appreciate, you know, the budget being presented to the public, but these budgets that are presented, they don't really tell us anything. They tell us a general you know, section where money is spent or where money comes in. We're not seeing where the dollars and cents are going. And when we're talking about a millage, you know, being presented to the voters, it's not really fair to ask us for more money when we're not being told where our money's going. There are multiple sections in this budget that are under the section of other. Well, other, we don't know what other means. There's, you know, probably close to $100 million worth of other in this general fund budget that was presented to us. So that could pay a lot of teachers. That could give them a big raise. And so what I'm asking in the future, even if it's just once a year, you know, just show us where the dollars and cents are going. We shouldn't have to spend $1 million on a forensic budget, or I'm sorry, a forensic audit to know where the money is going. And I was at the last audit meeting, and where RSM was there, and in the materials that we were presented, the basic math was even off. You know, they gave us a list of all the audits that were done since 2017. Never once has a forensic audit been done. And the other audits that were done, they pull random sampling, so that doesn't necessarily tell us anything. You know, I'm asking for more transparency and for the public to be able to see the dollars and cents without having to pull public records requests. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Delaney. Mr. Colucci?
My name is Anthony Colucci. I'm the president of the Brevard Federation of Teachers. The vote on the 2021-22 memorandums of agreement was conducted from May 16th through May 20th at nearly every work site in the district. There were 2,408 votes cast for yes, and there were 134 votes cast for no. Thus, the bargaining unit ratified the MOAs with a 95% yes vote. Our membership clearly saw the increases for many supplements, premium pay, paid COVID leave, and the leapfrogging correction as positives and steps in the right direction. But I need to make it clear that there will be nothing acceptable to our membership next year than a substantial recurring raise that is not wiped out by massive health insurance premium increases being proposed by SIAC. I will remind you, once again, that Florida's teachers rank 48th in the nation in average pay, and Brevard is $1,000 behind the average Florida pay. The fact is, our teachers are amongst the lowest paid teachers in the entire country. That's correct. Our teachers in Brevard are among the lowest paid in the entire country. We've already seen some districts providing substantial raises next year. Yet, while I'm seeing these substantial raises in other districts, I'm seeing 25% proposed health insurance premiums for those with families. Let me say that again, 25% proposed premium increases on our employees with families. Come on now. There's no way our employees will be able to afford thousands of dollars in health insurance increases while gas hovers at $5 a gallon and grocery bills and housing costs soar. And there's no way BFT will support those type of health insurance increases. Although we're appreciative of the non-recurring premium pay, our teachers will not be fooled into supporting recurring health insurance premium increases from their checks. School board members in all school districts are facing the same issues that you are, and many have found ways to deal with those challenges. We are hopeful that by June 2nd, when we return to the bargaining table, you found a way to do so other than on the backs of our teachers. Over 800 teachers left or did not return to BPS this year. If you do not act quickly and appropriately at the bargaining table, we believe that BPS may be unable to open some schools next year due to an unprecedented number of vacancies. I implore you to be prepared to offer a substantial raise and reasonable increases to health insurance. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Colucci. All right, that is going to conclude public comments on agenda items. We thank you for your willingness to address the board. And with that, we will move into our consent agenda. Dr. Mullins?
Madam Chair and members of the board, there are 15 items under the consent agenda.
Does any board member wish to pull any item from the consent agenda? So yours is actually further down. It's going to be on H32.
Yep.
Okay. So consent is good unless there's something else that you all need to pull from the consent agenda? All right, hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to accept the consent agenda as presented. Moved by Ms. McDougall, seconded by Ms. Campbell. Is there any discussion? All right, all in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Same sign. Motion passes 5-0. All right, we are now at the public hearing portion of the agenda. First is to hold a hearing and approve item G27. Is there anyone present to address the board regarding the renewal charter contract, Pineapple Cove Classical Academy? Is there anyone present to address the board regarding the renewal charter contract, Pineapple Cove Classical Academy, West Melbourne? And I'm going to say that one more time because I left the West Melbourne off the first time and I have to say it twice. I don't know why, it's just the rule. Is there anyone present to address the board regarding the renewal charter contract, Pineapple Cove Classical Academy, West Melbourne? All right, then I will entertain a motion from the board. Moved by Ms. McDougall, seconded by Ms. Campbell. Is there any discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Same sign. Motion passes 5-0. Next is to hold a hearing and approve item G28. Is there anyone present to address the board regarding renewal charter contract, Emma Jewell Charter Academy? Is there anyone present to address the board regarding renewal charter contract, Emma Jewell Charter Academy? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion. Moved by Ms. McDougall, seconded by Ms. Campbell. Is there any discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Same sign. Motion passes 5-0. Dr. Mullins, will you please let us know about items under the action portion of tonight's agenda?
The first item, H2029, is for Mr. Matt Susan's FSBA FADS travel confirmation.
What are the wishes of the board?
Can I talk real quick, even though I can't vote on it?
Once after I get a second. Yes, you can. Was that a second, Ms. McDougall?
Yeah.
And Mr. Susan, you can vote on your travel.
I know, it's crazy because, like, I don't even have, you guys know that I stay usually in that other hotel room, right? But this time I was like, hey, you know what? Try to be a part of the team because I'm on the leadership and all that stuff. And we don't even have a hotel room for me, but yet I'm trying to get approved. Yeah, no, it's completely full. So I'm getting approved for a hotel room that I haven't even gotten yet. And I normally go down the street for half as much, which would mean that I don't do this. So we'll, you know, if it gets amended, we'll just come back and make an action or something. But it's just a screwy situation the way it plays out. But you got to do it in order to get approved for it, but I'm probably not even going to be there. So, it's just weird. So.
Well, Mr. Susan, if you need my room, let me know. I can always find someone to stay with in the Tampa area, because I'm pretty sure that Tammy did get me a room at the conference hotel, because I have to go over for our committees and a couple of board things, so.
It's okay. I'll just go someplace. It's no big deal.
I'm going, but I'm only staying one night.
Yeah, they're supposed to open up at the last minute. I was just talking about the hypocrisy of the whole thing, right? That's all. That's all. Yeah.
So are you voting now?
All right, so, any additional discussion? Nothing in the script on that. You're shooting from the hip without our,
We opt.
yeah.
Is that correct? We don't, okay.
Well,
We need.
what's the matter? What did I do? Did I do something?
No, we're fine. So the question was, it recommends an opportunity for public comment, but there was public comment in the agenda speakers on any of the agenda items.
We're good.
So. All right. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion passes 5-0. Dr. Mullins,
Next is item H30, Department School Initiated Agreement.
what are the wishes of the board?
Second.
Moved by Ms. Campbell, seconded by Ms. McDougall. Is there any discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion passes 5-0. Dr. Mullins?
Next is item H31, Procurement Solicitations.
What are the wishes of the board?
Move to approve.
Moved by Mr. Susan, seconded by Ms. Campbell. Is there any discussion? Ms. Campbell?
Yes, there has, whenever we have air conditioning issues, it's a big deal, because it makes it hard to learn and teach and work and all those things. I just wanted to thank, as well as the procurement department, Ms. Han and her department, for making this proactive contract that we're going to be seeing more of establishing VPS as a priority customer and doing the preventive maintenance, and I think this is going to be a continuation of HVAC improvements, which of course we were able to do a lot of that through the half-cent sales surtax, and then just continuing on. So thank you to both departments for getting this done for us.
Anyone else? All right, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion passes 5-0. Dr. Mullins?
Next is item H32, Reappointment Nomination of Annual Contract Teachers for the 2022-23 school year.
Mr. Susan and Ms. Jenkins have a conflict of interest with this item and will be abstaining from the vote. Mr. Susan, please verbally advise that you are abstaining and provide the reason.
I'm abstaining from the vote due to a conflict of interest as it resolves.
Your mic
involves,
is not on.
You get it anyway. I'm abstaining from the vote due to a conflict of interest as it involves the reappointment of my wife.
Thank you, Mr. Susan. Ms. Jenkins, please verbally advise that you're abstaining and provide the reason.
I'm abstaining from the vote due to a conflict of interest as it involves the appointment of my husband.
Thank you, Ms. Jenkins. Do I hear a motion?
I move. Second.
Moved by Ms. McDougall and seconded by Ms. Campbell. Is there any discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. The motion passes 3-0 with 2 abstaining.
Get one more teacher person on the board, we're gonna be in trouble.
Right?
like hopefully.
Yeah, we won't have a majority.
Quorum.
Yeah. You guys are going to have to get divorced or something. I don't know what to tell you. All right, the last action item is H33, the district oh, Dr. Mullins, I'm reading yours.
You're doing it so well.
Thanks.
The last action item is H33, the district application for Title I, Part A.
What are the wishes of the board?
Second.
Moved by Ms. McDougall, seconded by Ms. Jenkins. Is there any discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion passes 5-0. All right, we will move on to the information agenda, which includes items for board review and may be brought back for action at a subsequent meeting. No action will be taken on these items tonight. Dr. Mullins.
There are 2 items in the information category.
Mr. Susan, I believe you indicated that you wanted to speak to I-34.
Yeah, and I know that this isn't for action today, but I'll just be honest with you guys. Our schools are in bad need of revenue. And what this is doing is reducing the amount of revenue that goes to them. Even though it's increasing by 20%, it's almost keeping it the same, if that makes sense. And I truly believe that with the amount of revenue that we have coming into the district, the functionality of facilities being used at the schools don't always pertain to increasing the fees. Now, I do know that electricity, say, for instance, needs to be increased, right? That's included in the 20% increase. You start looking at some of them, and to increase the district's portion of the facility use while decreasing the facility use portion for the schools, while increasing the overall by 20%, I think I don't, I know it's coming back, but I just wanted to view my point that I don't think I'll approve that portion of it, and I'd like to start working with staff on it. But the idea is that this is money that our schools need, and to increase it by 20%, great. But there's got to be a huge justification for the district to take a portion of our schools away. That's all. And I don't want to have staff come up and explain it because I can get with them before it comes to action. But I just wanted to make a statement. That's all. Yeah, it's just information. So that's all.
Well, just for the board's clarification, we're happy to provide any clarification of the details of the increase in the building use agreement. Just for clarification, we are moving towards the procurement of a online management software program for building use agreements that will alleviate work on the school's part as well as on district staff, but it does come with a cost, and 10%, at least 10% of the cost increase is going just to cover the cost of that tool. The additional increase is to offset growing expenses to the district related to facility use, but we were cognizant of any reduction in revenue to the schools themselves. So there is no anticipated reduction of revenue to the schools based on past utilization of outside entities using our buildings. That's assuming they continue to use them at the same rate, obviously. So just for the board's discussion, happy to provide more information to the board between now and the next meeting if there are questions. Mr. Susan, I'll certainly follow up with you as well.
Okay. Yeah, we'll follow up. If we're going to be moving to an online system, then that should reduce the amount of workforce that's needed. We might be able to offset the cost there. I just know how much that means to some of the schools. That's all. Thanks.
All right. Does any board member wish to discuss any other item on the information agenda? Mr. Susan?
I think I passed you over a note. Sorry, I was giving you those notes like that. Did you give it to her, McDougal? You threw it away?
We are not to board discussion quite yet.
Okay.
I just need to close out information first, and then I'm coming to you on the other note that you passed me, Mr. Susan. Any board member wish to discuss any of the other information items? Okay. All right. Then that is going to move us into board member reports and discussion points. Any board members have information to report or discuss? Mr. Susan.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to talk about and this is something that I was just going to throw out there, and I might go to staff, but I want to give you a heads up. So a lot of our tracks are being built right now, and Ms. Han has been working really hard to make sure that they get built for our schools, and innovatively she was able to figure out that we could reduce the width of the tracks, and they've been working really good hand in hand. But some of our schools are running into a situation where some of the other things, the pits and the long jumps and all that stuff, cost a little bit of more money to do, and they've all been told ahead of time that they would have to fundraise on their own, and that's pertinent, that's respectful. But one of the things that I might go ask Sue is, hey, would they be allowed to do a loan for that section so that they could actually do that? That's all. And I'll go to her, then I'll come back, but I was just letting you guys know that I was going to move on that, because I think it's kind of nice to be able to, while they're there doing it, to be able to allow them to do it. Some of these schools can't fundraise quick enough to get it, and so they're going to have like the rubberized track, but they're not going to have the other pieces to it. So it'd be nice to be able to allow them to take out a loan in some sort of fashion. So I might just meet with them and do that, give them that opportunity. That's all. If nobody else is against me going to ask about it, to bring it back as a conversation point, maybe that's it.
I would just encourage you to have the conversation with Dr. Mullins and then go from there, so that you can know know the ins and outs and make sure that all the i's are dotted and t's are crossed for the conversation?
Yeah, basically, they should be able to loan money so that they can pay for their pits, that's all.
Well, just because we've spoken into existence the concept of a loan, I need for the public to understand, we cannot loan schools revenue or money to do projects. We can pay for the project and they can reimburse the district over time, but it is not a loan. There are no agreements and that sort of thing. The district has done that in the past. We've moved away from that intentionally, but if the board wants us to reconsider that's something we can bring back to the board.
Yeah,
But it's not a loan.
We're not charging interest.
There's no interest. We are paying for the project with expectation and some agreement that the school would repay it. But we don't have, it's not a formal loan. We are not a financial institution to be able to do things like that. So.
And what Dr. Mullins is not saying is that there were some loans that were given out to things that we ended up having to pay off because they couldn't pay them back and stuff like that. I know where this conversation's going.
So for clarification, we didn't have to pay off because
No,
there was
just- you
no
guys,
official loan.
You know, I don't know why you guys get caught in the semantics. We basically
It is
let the
very
schools pay us back, but we had to assume it. But there's just an opportunity here. So I'm just trying to figure out if there's an opportunity, some way to make it happen. That's all. Whether it's not a loan, whether it's, some other things. So
Perhaps school matching funds.
there you go. But a
Exactly.
special school matching. A special school matching.
No, but I know that facilities has that program that you can match the funds.
But it's
and
only up
anybody-
to a certain amount.
Well, it's equal for everybody at every school.
School
So
matching fund was made for playgrounds and small
playgrounds
stuff,
and so
not
that could work.
$60,000 worth of other stuff. So,
But anyway,
we used to have a large match, you remember, or we were talking about it. That might be something.
Potentially could be.
There it is.
All right, any additional board member discussion points? I want to share with you all just before we get into our last public comment. I think you all are aware, but I'm not sure. Dr. Mullins and I, along with the chair of our audit committee and our financial services team, had to meet this afternoon with the auditor general, who, as you know, is coming in to do their every 3 years audit that they do of the district. And so we had our entry meeting this afternoon for, they're coming in to do both an operational audit as well as a financial and federal funds audit. Looking to finish those up probably July, but it'll take some time for us to get the report on the operational, and then probably November, I think, on the financial and federal funding one. There again, it'll take some time for them to actually complete the report after the audit is completed. But I just wanted to share with you all, I know there's, we talk all the time about the fact that they come and look at all of these things, but so in our last audit, and they actually provided this to me today after we met with them, because I thought it was important for you all to know exactly what it is that they're looking at. So information technology policies and procedures to determine whether policies and procedures address certain important IT control functions such as security system development and maintenance, network configuration, management systems backup and disaster recovery, district procedures for maintaining, reviewing employee access to IT data and resources, selected operating system, database, network, and application security settings to determine whether authentication controls were configured and enforced in accordance with IT best practices, district procedures for protecting the sensitive personal information of students, including social security numbers, the general fund total unassigned and assigned fund balances to determine whether the total was less than the 3% of the fund's revenues as specified in Florida statutes, which you all are familiar with, and analytical procedures to evaluate the district's ability to make future debt service payments, the population of expenditures from non-voted capital outlay, tax levy proceeds, public education capital outlay funds, sales tax and other restricted capital project funds, expenditures for workforce education program funds, adult general education and instructional students during the audit period, the hours that they actually were in class, the established audit committee, and that our audit committee has followed their prescribed procedures to contract for audit services, and in whether or not we have an internal auditor, board policies and district procedures, and evaluating controls over the transportation department inventories for the audit period, the superintendent's contract, they dig into our fingerprinting and background screening, school volunteer policies, Florida Best and Brightest Teacher Scholarship Program they looked at before. They'll be looking this time at TSIA to make sure that all of that is handled properly, as well as, of course, all the federal dollars that we're getting. Board policies and district procedures for ethical conduct for instructional personnel and school administrators. Board policies and district procedures to ensure health insurance was provided only to eligible employees, retirees, and dependents. Bidding and purchasing. Construction projects. They're looking at our design and build construction manager and architect contracts. They're looking at subcontractor selection, negotiation and monitoring of general condition costs, our payments, how readily we pay our contractors, our fire, safety, casualty, safety, and sanitation inspection reports, as well as ensuring that we are doing all of our required drills by the state for school safety. So, and that's, I still have more pages to go here, but I share that with you all because I think it's important for you all to understand the depth at which they are working. And also, that of course is going to require that our staff, who is already carrying very full plates, is going to have to be available and willing to divert their time to work with the auditors during this period to make sure that they have all of the information that they need. So thanks to the Auditor General for coming in and doing a very thorough job of digging into all that we do, and thanks to our staff, who is inevitably going to have to work very collaboratively with them over the next several months until we can get those reports. So just wanted to make sure that you all were aware, since you weren't in the meeting with us.
Ms. Belford, if I can add, maybe you said it and I missed it, but the outcome of that audit will be presented to the audit committee in a public meeting. Of course, the district has to give account for any items that are identified as a finding as to the corrections that will take place in addressing the audit, as well as while they're here, we will be obligated to provide our follow-through to the last audit they had and those findings that they identified. So again, it's a very obviously it's a public process, and all of the documents and the findings are made available to the public. I would also remind our viewing public that Brevard Public Schools, both our budget and our annual financial report is both available on our website as well as the Florida Department of Education website, which does provide a very detailed description of all budgeted items and then how they are expended in the annual financial report. What is presented to the board, as you know, in board meetings, are budget amendments throughout the year from the original budget to the time in question. So, but again, all documents are available, certainly if not through certainly if not on our website or through the DOE website, certainly available through public record.
Thank you, Dr. Mullins. And if you look at the document that was referenced earlier in public comment is actually our interim financial statements, which is not, it's not exactly the same as our budget amendment, but is actually more detailed than what we have seen previously because they shifted to a new format for that. So. But yes, all of that is available. Thank you for pointing that out. All right. Anyone else have anything to add before we move into our final public comment portion? All right, then we will now hear the remaining speakers who signed up to comment on non-agenda items. Each speaker is limited to 3 minutes. We have a clock in front of me to help you keep track of your time. When your time is over, you'll be asked to stop and allow the next speaker his or her turn. We'll hear from the speakers in the order in which they signed up, including those who may be waiting outside. As stated earlier, reasonable decorum is expected at all times, and your statement should be directed to the board chair. Should audience participation interfere with speakers being heard or hearing me, I will be forced to clear the room. When I call your name, please line up along the east wall of the boardroom to facilitate the smooth transition of speakers. Our first 3 speakers are Diana Haynes, Katie Delaney, and Cheryl, I never get this last name right, Wojciechowski. Did I say it right this time? Woohoo!
A couple of weeks ago, I appeared before the school board to speak on several subjects of great controversy, and Madam Chairperson, you took it upon yourself to infringe upon my constitutional rights, the First Amendment right to free speech. That event will have consequences. Previously, prior to every meeting, you started with what is conceived to be a myriad of threats to the audience attending. You threatened us with the possibility of arrest by having a room full of Brevard County Sheriff's deputies and by your harsh words. You threatened to have us removed or trespassed so that we would be silenced for a long period of time. I believe because, Madam Chairperson, you don't particularly care to hear what we have to say. That's not your right. We are still here in the United States of America where we still follow the Constitution, the Declaration, and Bill of Rights. You're not a dictator in charge here. You were placed in that seat by me, by the taxpayers, and by the voters. You work for us. That is not a joke. I cannot tell you, or you cannot tell me what language I can use, what words I choose to say. And if you continue to pursue that particular line of directing the Brevard County Sheriff's deputies to go after myself or anyone else and infringe on our constitutional rights, I want you to know, the Brevard County Sheriff's Department to know, and everyone in the public to know that there will be consequences and the full weight of the law will be applied. We will no longer be silenced. We will no longer be tolerant of the Nazi ways that go on in this particular meeting. I came here to speak to you about things that are of concern to many parents in this community, and I will not have my rights impeded. You already have a suit going on in the courts with this exact matter being addressed, a violation of First Amendment rights. You're about to have a second. I came here as a parent, a grandparent, and a taxpayer to demand to know what was going on in our schools. Like I said previously, there are kids in knife fights, scissor fights, bomb threats, shooting threats, bullying on so many levels that parents are still removing.
I'm father of 3 children in Brevard Public Schools, and I'm deeply concerned about efforts to make it easier to ban books from school curricula and library shelves. There's a sentiment from Tallahassee that material on American history, politics, or social studies should be banned if it makes students or their parents uncomfortable. Unfortunately, the story of America can be ugly and painful for both white and minority students. But that should not stop educators from providing our children with truthful education on race that does not spare them from the realities of slavery, Jim Crow, segregation, and discrimination. Our children need to hear the stories of heroes, black and white, who fought against this oppression. Candid instruction on America's sins and its struggles to reckon with them would serve 3 purposes. First, it prevents future generations, our children, from making the mistakes of our ancestors. Second, it sheds light on why African Americans and other minority groups lag behind in education, health, and wealth. History tells us these disparities are not due to personal inadequacies, but because of recurrent and systemic discrimination that has served to undermine progress. Understanding this is an important weapon to counter the same racism that killed 10 innocent black men and women in Buffalo a few weeks ago. Third, the history of oppressed people in this nation is as much a history of success as it is of cruelty. The esteem of our children, particularly minority children, benefits when they understand that they come from people who have triumphed in the face of this adversity. Instead of second-guessing educators, this board should err on the side of retaining books, leaving them on the shelves and in curricula while challenges by organizations and individuals are reviewed. This review process should be transparent, and the threshold for removing such literature should be sky high. The potential damage from sanitizing and politicizing school curricula is much greater than the risk of exposing our children to supposedly inappropriate materials that have already been curated by teachers and administrators and librarians who are experts in student learning. Knowledge and truth are not threats to our children, but censorship is. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hosey. Greg Ross.
Good evening, Board. First, I just want to say congrats on the school survey results. It was great to see that 3 out of 4 parents are satisfied or very satisfied with the Brevard Public School. So great. Congratulations. Well deserved. I'm here tonight. I just want to speak to you guys a little bit. I have 2 children in public schools. One just graduated Heritage. I think we were all lucky to survive that graduation ceremony on Friday night. My youngest is a freshman at Bayside High starting this fall. So I've been involved with Brevard schools for 13 years. And over that period, my children have attended Title I schools, they've attended choice schools, they've attended virtual school, they've attended educational program opportunities, they've attended CTE programs. I've been active too. I've been a volunteer at multiple Brevard schools. I've judged science fairs, served on numerous SAC committees, been on textbook adoption committees. And so what am I trying to get to here is what am I trying to say? I've been very active in Brevard schools over that 13 years. I've seen the school board members make both wise and unwise decisions, as any school board is prone to do. From the software fiasco of a few years ago to the scientifically based correct decision to mask our students during the height of the COVID pandemic. What have I learned about schools in that time? That biases have no place in our schools or on our school board. Schools should be a safe place for all children, regardless of race, color, gender identity, sexual preference, and even economic standing. I'm here simply to say thank you to the school board members who stand for all students, parents, teachers, and staff. Thank you to the members who make decisions based upon scientific knowledge and not religious beliefs. Thank you to the members who make decisions based upon doing the right thing and not being right. Thank you to the members who make decisions based upon compassion and not fear. Thank you to the members who make decisions based upon spreading knowledge and not guarding the realities of the world. Thank you to the members who make decisions based upon progressing and not regressing. That's it. Thank you. The world is watching what you do, and history will remember the things you do here. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ross, and thank you for being an engaged parent. James Nelson. And as James is approaching, our last speaker of this evening will be Terry Hart. If you wouldn't mind lining up on the east wall, Terry. Whenever you're ready, Mr. Nelson.
Okay, thank you. Thank you to the board for allowing me to speak this evening. I practiced for 60 seconds, so I'm not sure what I'm going to do up here for the last 2 minutes. But many years ago, I could talk as fast as a guy on the FedEx commercial, but those years are long gone. So I've been meaning to come down here for several months, since probably October, November of last year. And I wanted to come down here to say thank you. And specifically to Mrs. Belford, Mrs. McDougall, and Mrs. Jenkins, who from early 2020 till this day have done your job. You've done your duty. Unlike certain national, state, and local officials who at best, committed dereliction of their duty, you 3 did your duty. Now, for doing your duty, what happened? Well, what I saw on TV was you were attacked, harassed, slandered, libeled, defamed, had your children scared, and had your private property trespassed. Now, who did this? Well, I don't want to talk about those people. I don't want to talk about them. I'm here to speak for the people of Brevard County that I represent that believe in quiet enjoyment of my home, quiet enjoyment of my private property. I'm here to speak for the people of Brevard County that believe in freedom of speech, and as the gentleman who was just up here, the two previous gentlemen, talk about science, logic, reason, and doing the right thing no matter who says it's the wrong thing. And also for standing up to certain state officials who unfortunately disagreed with you all. So to make a long story short, that cloth up there with the red, white, and blue, because of what you three did and had to put up with, I look at that flag over there and smile with pride. Not a boastful pride or a bragging pride or a conceited pride, but a very humble, thankful, grateful pride. So thank you three very, very much.
Thank you, Mr. Nelson. Terry Hart?
Hi, thank you for letting me speak. I decided to come down today after watching the last board meeting online, and it really got me upset, all the things that were said. So the first thing I do want to say to all of you is, based on everything that happened here today earlier, congratulations. I mean, all the awards that this county and the school board, the schools have gotten, I mean, that's fabulous, and that's what these meetings should be about, is making sure that, you know, we get, you know, the best music programs and the best education, and recognizing the teachers and advancing students. We're not going to get that if we start banning books. We're not going to get that if we close our minds and close our kids' minds to everything that's out there. I know it's a touchy issue. I know some people can look at classics and see pornography. But, you know, pornography isn't subjective. There's a definition of pornography. And if somebody knows what the definition of pornography is, none of these books that they're wanting to ban are pornographic. And so I hope whenever you guys decide who's going to be on these review committees, that they actually understand the difference between what is considered pornography, what is not considered pornography. These books that they want banned, I read them all. I read them all when I was in high school. I read them in college. They didn't. Anyway. Anyway, that's basically what I want to say. I'm hoping that you guys did a great thing. You stood up to voices back when they didn't want you to allow the kids to be masked when the virus was spreading. You had the courage to stand up. I hope you have the courage to stand up again and not let, I believe, a minority of parents take away the right of our kids to have access to a good education. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hart. All right. Board wishes to thank this evening's speakers for joining us. Any board members have anything before I go ahead and gavel us out?
I'll remind everybody next time, but remember the Summer Fine Arts Theater Workshop starts next week, and the shows are already scheduled for the weekend of the first, hang on, I got my calendar up, June 30th, July 1st, and July 2nd. They'll be doing Peter Pan and Sister Act. So I'll put some more announcements next time, but we're not going to meet for another 3 weeks, so I just want to let everybody know that's going on.
Yes, thank you, Ms. Campbell, for that reminder. We appreciate it.
No idea.
Peter Pan. Peter Pan.
Anybody else have anything for the good of the order? All right. There being no further business, this meeting is now adjourned. Have a great night.